What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Ralli Roots video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different, kind of outside the world of reselling, but still sort of has to do with it. We've been getting the similar question over the past few years. Our channel has been online. We've been on YouTube now for about 2.5 years. The same question has kind of come up now where people who have been watching our channel for a while want to know what to do with their money that they've made from reselling. So people have been like starting to stack cash, and now they're trying to figure out, okay, now that I have a little bit of money to play with, where should I be putting my money? So today we're talking to Nikki Dunn. She is a friend, but also a financial
planner,
expert, nerd.
Nerd is a pretty accurate.
She likes money.
We like money.
So today we're just going to have like a kind of a casual conversation. We figured we would talk about, just talk about the questions that we've had from people who watch our channel, and then maybe also like some questions that we have personally that you may be able to help us out with as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? Cool.
Yeah. And I just want to say I love these guys. We've been friends for a really long time, and I'm also Callie's best friend.
Callie,
shout out Callie.
I'm very proud of being Callie's best friend because she's amazing. All these guys are. So I'm really, really excited to be on the channel. Appreciate you guys having me. Of course. A little quick intro on my end is I'm basically a stock market trader and investor, and I'm also a financial planner, money expert, whatever you want to call it. I love money. I think finances can be fun. I think finances, make finances exciting for people again. Yeah. That's my goal. It's an essential part of life.
For sure.
And it's great what you guys are doing, helping people make more money.
Yeah.
It's fantastic how you can literally start from nothing and sell something in your house on eBay and make a little extra cash, and it can just spiral, garage sailing, all of that.
I'm excited to have this conversation because I think most of our audience stops there. Most of the people who watch our channel, they just buy stuff and then they sell it, and they're making good money. They're making extra income, but it stops there. They're not really doing anything with that income. Us included, we're not the greatest investors out there. Obviously, we have multiple streams of income, but we have a lot to learn when it comes to investing. And I think that's a cool thing about the world is that there's experts in each field, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't go, hey, I know exactly how to sell this thing on eBay. You would probably ask us how to do it. And in the same instance, we don't know a whole bunch about finances, so we're coming to the expert.
Yeah. And not everybody who watches our channel resells.
That's also true.
Yeah, some people just
Is that so?
Some people are intrigued by thrifting and garage sales, but really your money just shouldn't be sitting around because you kind of lose money when it's just sitting there, right? I mean, your money should make you money, and we're really going to kind of get into that and why it's important that your money makes you money, or it doesn't just kind of sit around doing nothing, because what good is it if it's just sitting there?
And then, like I say, guys, Nikki is the expert. We're just going to talk about kind of the basics of financial planning. She has a lot more information where she goes in depth. She teaches people how to plan for the future. So I'll link all of Nikki's information in the description of this video. If you want more information about what Nikki does, if you want to maybe work with her, you can click on those links and learn more about working with Nikki.
Yeah. Kind of help people set goals and have a reason to save this money or put this money aside instead of just blowing it on something or spending it on the car that they've always wanted. Maybe they'll take into consideration, well, I'll wait an extra 2 months so that I can put this money aside so that, they can make wiser choices with their money.
I think one of the biggest things about financial education, as we've talked about before, this stuff isn't taught in school. And
that's a really good point.
And it's literally the most important subject of our lives because money doesn't make you happy. Money can, some people have a negative relationship with money, but the fact of the matter is money is what makes everything easier. It's what gets us through life, and it's what gets us through retirement. And I like to think that educating people about this stuff and getting them excited about it and being able to start working towards their future retirement, even though they're young, but getting them excited about it, that education, the more people that know about this, it gets them more excited to want to start paying down their debts and making smarter choices and learning that, oh, well, if I don't buy this BMW and I use that money over here to invest in the stock market or whatever, or, you know, I can, in 20 years, I'll have X amount of dollars, you know? So the education helps. Even though if someone's not ready yet to make certain moves in their financial life, it still gets them thinking about it and gets them excited about when they get there. You know,
you're preparing. You're always preparing. Keeping yourself educated, you can prepare yourself properly for your future.
Exactly.
Yeah. And my grandfather always says, "Rich or poor, it's always good to have money."
That's so true.
Can I quote that?
Yeah. Please do. Say Alrich.
Alrich. It's a good last name. It's a perfect last name for that quote. Alrich.
Yep.
So why don't we do this then? Can we just take like the average person and talk about them? What I assume is the average person, right? I feel like most people watching our channel, they're making a little bit of extra money reselling, but I think most people have jobs. They're making a bit of extra money, but they don't really know what to do with that money. I would say most people watching our channel aren't investors. They probably have a mortgage, car payments, maybe some student loan debt, maybe some credit card debt. So what would, if you were in that situation, what would like your first steps be?
Right, like perspective.
So, the very, very first step with anybody, obviously you have to sit them down and ask them their goals. So it's always good to like get that down and figure out what their goals are. But the most important step is looking at debt first. And then looking at an emergency account. I call it it's known as an emergency fund, you know, having a savings. Really, most people have debt, but they don't necessarily think about it in terms of good debt versus bad debt. And there's a big difference between the two. A mortgage is good debt. You know, a car loan, your loan rate, your interest rate is probably not that high. Right. Most likely.
What about credit cards?
Credit cards is where you get into trouble. And, you know, this is where compound interest comes into play. Compound interest, for those of you that don't know, it's basically you're getting paid interest upon interest upon interest, and your balances grow over time exponentially without you really having to do much extra work, except maybe, you know, contribute payments to your accounts. Well, compound interest is what makes people wealthy, but compound interest is also what makes people very poor, because those interest rates on those credit cards, the average is like 16-17%.
Crazy high.
That's insane.
Blows my mind.
And that compounds against you.
Right.
And people don't necessarily think about what rate they're paying. So the best thing to do when you're looking at someone in that situation is to make sure, okay, I'm tackling my high interest debt, getting that paid down, and in turn I'm also making sure that I have an emergency fund so that I don't have to charge emergencies to my credit card.
Is that something that you would do simultaneously, or would you knock out? Ideally you do simultaneously.
Ideally, because you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have anything in your savings account and you're strapped, and then you're forced to use a credit card.
Because it would go back on credit cards.
It would just go back. It's just, the cycle continues, right? So ideally break down your debts into good and bad based on how high your interest rate is, and then tackle those high ones and simultaneously work towards building that emergency fund.
Cool. I think that's great advice. Yeah. So then what if you get that done? Let's say you have that situated. You have a, what would you consider a good size emergency fund? Like how much money should you have in there?
So ideally it's, if you're a one income household, 6 months. If you're a dual income household, 3 months.
Okay.
However, that very much depends on someone's specific situation, because I know for some people, they need 12 months to feel comfortable.
Sure.
You know, they are like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
6 months, 3 months, that's not enough.
Right.
And so it's risk tolerance. It's personal to you, but that's like the rule of thumb.
Yeah,
minimum.
I think that's a good rule. I think like for us, because we don't have traditional, you know, jobs, we like to have more higher emergency fund than most people.
And that is you doing good risk management in your financial plan. You know that.
I think our biggest issue though is that we probably keep too much money in cash, and I know that inflation can eat away at that cash, but I think it's because we don't necessarily know what to do with that money, right? I mean,
yeah, we don't. We've been weary to do something with that money because we didn't know what the right next move is in our lives. And we're both this year 31, so it's about time.
You're 31.
I'm 31.
I'm
and
not
Ryan's
31.
going to be 31 pretty soon after, like a few weeks from. A few weeks from now. Yep, freckle past the hair.
Oh man, yeah, and that's a very, very common issue. I mean, that's probably the most common issue. People don't know about the stock market, how it works. It intimidates the crap out of them. It's scary, especially after the 2008 financial crisis. Yeah. People don't even want to touch it. In fact, there's a statistic out there that I forgot the exact statistic, but essentially it was something like 3 in 5 millennials aren't invested in the stock market. And
really?
Yeah, it's high. I have to go back and get the exact number.
Yeah.
But it was, when I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's a really high number.
Yeah.
And they're really into like, lower interest CDs and, government bonds, which pay, you're barely keeping up with inflation with those things.
Yeah.
And I have it pulled up, so I might as well just go to it to kind of explain how inflation works.
Okay.
So basically, inflation averages about 2% a year. And what's happening is as the years go by, everything becomes more and more expensive. So this is actually our consumer price index, which it tracks, how much things are going up in terms of cost over time.
Right. So like a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, things like that.
Things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. This one actually takes out energy and food because those are more basically I looked up the food. I looked up the food inflation rates and it's about the same. It's just a little bit more volatile, like for longer periods you'll see, more movement. So I think and energy's a very volatile commodity. Yeah. Commodities are volatile. So they take that out, but it's pretty similar. When I pulled up the actual inflation data. So this is the past 10 years of inflation, and you can see this is 0. This is 2%. You can kind of see how we're hanging around 2% inflation. So inflation exists, like it's there, and it's eating your money, and if you can't beat it, at least try to keep up with it, and you can keep up with it with low risk investments like CDs or high yield savings accounts, or treasury, government bonds. But in terms of growing significant wealth, it's difficult to do with
those types of investments.
Yeah, because inflation's basically taking your money, and you're basically just keeping, you're barely keeping up.
I feel like we should use an analogy for inflation because sometimes people need like a visual, right? Because people are very visual. So maybe you can look at inflation. Your money is like a piece of fabric in a closet, and inflation is a moth.
Yes.
And the moth
That's a good analogy.
is the inflation, and it's slowly eating away at the fabric, right? And so you want your fabric to be nice and intact whenever you go to use that shirt or that blanket later. But if that moth is eating holes in it, you're going to be
This is amazing, by the way.
We need to do a separate video called Analogies with Allie, because she's got some really good ones.
I'm going to start calling you up when I'm doing content. I'm going to be like, hey, I need an analogy.
I need a quote from your granddad and an analogy stat.
All right, I'm in.
So that is the perfect analogy.
That's good.
Inflation's
See, I was going to say, imagine a shark eating your arm off.
That's like very, very
just because
morbid.
Chris has been into sharks. He's been so now I've got sharks in my head. My husband is really into sharks, and he's going shark diving. He's crazy, but yeah, that's where I was gonna go with it. Like, I don't know why sharks eating fish.
So inflation obviously eats into your cash. We understand that. So what do we do then? Like, let's say we've built up from reselling, we've built up We've built up our emergency fund. That's done. We've started knocking out that bad debt. Still have some debt, but we've knocked out those high interest rates. We're good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And we've built up another 10 grand to play with. What do we do?
So once you get your emergency fund and you get your debts under control, really what you want to start looking into is retirement. And you want to be thinking about investing for retirement. Okay. So there's something called, there are two different types of investing. One's passive investing and one's active investing. So passive investing is basically you are putting your money into ETFs or mutual funds that someone is putting together these, baskets of stocks that you can simply invest in and let them ride.
Right.
So passive investing is essentially you're letting your money ride, you're reinvesting dividends along the way, you're getting compound interest working in your favor, and you're really, all you have to do is just deposit the money, and you know, if you're self-employed and don't have an employer to do it for you, you just buy certain ETFs.
Right.
Active investing is, and I do both, but active investing is like where you're stock picking. You're, researching stocks. You're, hey, I want to get into Google or get into, Tesla or whatever, and you're buying and selling, trying to beat the market.
Right.
Which I do both. I think that, for the average person, they're probably mostly going to be doing passive investing because they have jobs, they have stuff to do.
Yeah.
Active investing takes time.
Yeah.
So the next step is to open up some type of IRA, 401k, some type of retirement account that you can start investing in.
We recently did that.
Yeah, we did a SEP IRA this year. And
SEPs are great for self-employed individuals.
Yep.
Yeah, because you can get up to 25% of your income into it.
I know.
And that comes off the top of your gross income. So your contribution or your company's contribution to your SEP, it comes right off the top. So it helps you save on taxes. And that's the other great benefit about investing for retirement is you can save yourself some taxes along the way as well.
Yeah.
Right. You got to educate yourself. So by doing that SEP IRA, we not only saving that money, but we saved paying more money in taxes. So we saved a little extra cash, really.
And the one thing that a lot of people don't know is once that money gets into your IRA, if you don't have a fund managing it for you or somebody managing it for you, you have to go in and you have to invest it. Yes. Like it's just going to sit there.
Otherwise it'll sit there.
And it's going to be, the moths are going to eat the fabric, you know? So a lot of people don't realize that, and they think that just by depositing the money, they're good. Right. But not quite. You're almost there.
That actually happened. We deposited when we deposited it was funny because we opened it through a buddy of mine. And like 3 months later, he calls me and he goes, hey, I'm going to give you a phone number to call because you should probably start doing something with that money.
Exactly.
Right? And I was like,
exactly.
Oh.
It doesn't just like go into anything. It's just in cash.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I teach this. I teach people, about the differences between ETFs and mutual funds, and I teach them the top ETFs that you can invest in because it goes deep. It's
it's a complicated subject.
It is, and it can be actually difficult for a lot of people to understand it. So I work really hard to simplify things for people.
When you're working with an average person through what you're doing through your courses and stuff, what all are you working with them through? Like how does that go? What are you teaching?
So in my course, I'm teaching basically how to understand what kind of financial shape you're in by not using a budget, by using certain ratios like consumer debt ratios, housing debt or housing ratios, to know what percentage of your income are, is it too high, is it too low? And by knowing these ratios, I teach you how to calculate them and how to actually read them. So say you end up with a ratio that's over the amount that I say is the right amount. That's where I say, okay, well, if your consumer debt ratio is too high, let's look at your debt. What's going on here? What can we decrease to get that ratio lower? Or can we get you into a cheaper car payment? You know, something like that. Right. So I, instead of going budget, I'm more ratio.
Yeah.
That helps you judge your financial health, get the overview, and then I move into teaching people the direction you need to go in terms of I have a pyramid. It's like a pyramid, and there's like the base of the pyramid.
Oh, I saw it whenever going through.
And then you move up. Yeah. You move up. You know, it's one step in front of the other. And a lot of building wealth is simply just patience and understanding that it's not going to happen overnight. And people love get rich quick schemes. Yeah. But yeah, instant gratification, it just doesn't work that way.
Well, you can still have both because you can resell and have that instant gratification, and then you can take that money and wait for it to grow more.
I apologize. You are correct. Yeah. And then I get into low risk investments, teaching about those types of investments, teaching about the stock market in a way that hopefully people can digest well and understand, and then teaching about the different tax strategies, ways to save on taxes with IRAs, different types of accounts that you can take advantage of. So
and by the way, guys, as we go into like the future, Nikki's a good friend. We're in Austin right now. She's actually going to come out to Florida as well, and she's going to help us with our finances in the future too, so we can continue to make videos on maybe certain subjects and talk about like because we're pretty open with obviously our numbers and stuff on eBay and blah blah blah. So we're happy to make videos, future videos as well, diving into certain things so that people can learn more about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
People need to be confident with their money choices, you know, not like kind of weary of what they should do with it. Like you should be confident with your choices, with what you do with your money. Yeah.
So why don't we do this then? Because I don't want to make this too long of a video.
Yeah.
Do you have like...
I feel like we could talk all day.
I know. Yeah.
So much to talk about. Just talking about a SEP IRA, you could talk about that for
I know. That's
that's like
thing.
One,
and then I was going to bring up Roth IRAs and the differences and the benefits and tax diversification and all this stuff. And I'm like,
the funny thing about talking to you though is you can tell like you're actually genuinely interested in this stuff.
I love talking about this stuff.
You're like all hyped.
That's literally why I started a YouTube channel.
Yeah, which is crazy because like when we go talk to our CPA, I hope he's not watching this, but it's so boring. Like most CPAs are very...
They do have that reputation, but I have mad respect for CPAs.
Huge respect. We couldn't run our business without a CPA.
No. So much respect. Tax documents are the worst. And so hats off to all the CPAs out there.
And you also go into like more in depth into taxes and how to set up your business and that kind of stuff to save in certain places too, or?
Well, that's a bit more of an advanced topic, but that I do talk about like how you can structure, you know, if you're an LLC, what your option, if you're an LLC or a sole proprietor, or an S corp, what your options are in terms of maximizing between the SEP and the solo 401k, and it like the different deduction limits and
people ask us tax questions all the time, and we tell them we are not financial advisors or financial planners or CPAs, so we're not the right people to give that information out, or any type of information, because we would give out inaccurate information, right? But Nikki's the right person.
Yeah, talk to the right person
for that.
That's
why, like, CPA, I still direct people to CPAs, but
for tax questions,
for like really detailed, deep stuff.
Right.
But but
like people, because I do a little bit of investing in the stock market. Right. People ask me all the time to make a video about trading stocks, and I'm like, well, why? I can't really make a video about that because I'm not an expert in that craft. I can make videos about eBay all day long. But if I tell someone the wrong thing when it comes to stock, it's going to make me look bad. So that's why you
like to stick with what you know best, what your specialty is. So
we want to become a master of a trade and not like a jack of all trades.
And I think that's like the way to success in this economy right now. Is people that are really, really zoned in and niche. Which one is it?
I say niche.
I say niche.
Ryan also says Florida.
Potato.
Okay.
Whatever.
So like I'll say niche.
Niche.
People that are really niched, into a specific specialty. It's awesome also bringing in other people and working together and building like a awesome team of people
100%.
that everyone knows their stuff and it's awesome. You can learn from them, and it's easier to specialize in one thing.
Right. Well, whenever you look at a company, companies don't hire one person to do 7 jobs. They hire one person to do one job and another person to do another job. So maybe you should run your finances basically like a company runs a business. Is you should have someone who's specializing one thing, helping you with that one thing. Other people specializing in another thing, helping you with that.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to become like a jack of all trades within your own life, really look at people who are masters in one trade.
And even financial planners in the industry, they bring in, you know, a CPA,
for sure.
an estate attorney. You know, they're bringing in people and building really cool teams of
estate attorneys. We had a conversation about that the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was just a random conversation.
I mean, see, this video could go forever.
Not for us, but just for other people.
With everything being said so far, then why don't we say, you know, to our audience, our audience, we talked about it a little bit. Do you have let's do this, 2 main tips that kind of anybody can, you have a couple tips for them?
I got a few tips. These are my main takeaway tips.
Okay.
So, and we kind of touched on this, but the first tip is to find out every single piece of debt you have, find out what the interest rate is on that debt. Because a lot of people don't think about it. They just make the minimum payments and hope one day they're going to get their debts paid off. But if you actually intently realize what these interest rates are and how they're compounding against you, it'll help you focus and get the highest rates paid down quickest. The second tip is realize that building wealth, time is your best friend. Time and patience is your best friend. So basically, if you're young, you have a lot of time to let investing work for you and let wealth build over time and compounding interest do its job. So even if you don't have a lot of money right now to be doing investing or, you know, thinking about retirement, even a little bit, just a start, you know, the earlier, the better. And so really, those are my 2 main tips.
Those are great tips. I think that's something that everybody can use and make work for them. Yeah.
I have a third thing.
No, only 2.
Give it to us. Number 3.
Real quick, because this is important.
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
So the third thing is, you know, in terms of fear about investing in the stock market, and this is to you guys too, you know, one thing you have to realize is over your lifetime, you're going to be investing at regular intervals, hopefully, and you're going to be getting in when the market's up. You're going to be getting in when the market's down. Panics in the stock market shouldn't be as scary to people as they are because panics in the stock market is a big old sale. Consider it a thrift sale. You know, you go to the thrift store to get a deal on a shirt or whatever. That's basically what panics in the stock market are. They're like big old sales.
It's a buying opportunity.
Absolutely. And people just freak out and they sell and they don't want to be involved. And it's like when it comes to just passive investing in, you know, ETFs and the S&P 500, that you just want to take advantage of at both sides, up and down.
Cool. Awesome.
That's all I got.
Well, thanks, Nikki.
That's all she's got.
That's awesome. Well, guys, like I said, I'm going to link all Nikki's information in the description of this video. If you want to go find out more about what she does, I'll put her YouTube channel and links to her website as well in the description of this video. But I want to say thank you, seriously, because I think that a lot of people are going to be able to take good information away from this video.
Or at least it'll stir their curiosity enough to go and research. Like if you don't know what a SEP IRA is or a Roth IRA, you can go and research it and understand it.
I've got some videos on my YouTube too.
Yeah, and you can
about
watch
this stuff.
Some of Nikki's free information and see if that is something that you could wrap your head around and really consider implementing in your life choices for now or for 2 years down the road, but always keep it in the back of your mind because it's really important to make sure that you are doing the right thing with your money, because when you get old, your money's going to take care of you.
Yeah.
And it's expensive to get old.
So you just need to be aware. You know?
Yeah.
Just get with it.
Get your knowledge on.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thanks so much, Nikki. Appreciate it.
Guys,
make sure to please hit the thumbs up button on this video. If you have questions, you can leave them in the comment section of this video. Keep them ones that we can answer. Because Nikki's not going to be able to jump on our channel and answer your questions. But if you have specific questions for Nikki, go over to her YouTube channel and ask her there. But yeah, thanks again.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on the next video.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.